I'm Big Bob.
And I'm Ann.
What's up?
Hey, what's up, Big Bob?
Hey, Ann, what's up?
Hey, how was your weekend?
Uneventful. Didn't get caught. So
Neither
it was.
did I. Right, good.
There you go.
2 for 2.
We got a great guest, a world-class speaker, a
Wow.
motivator.
You need one of those.
I have one of those.
Not working, huh?
Not working at all. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Cicone. So,
Yes, sir.
Cicone, Brenda said we should call you Cicone King instead of Cicone Prince.
As long as the check clears, I'm good.
All right. By the way, we start every one of our podcasts with a special recognition and thank you very much to Brenda Ringwood, who is our
Producer.
executive producer and the founder of Becoming the Better You, which is a organization we all support.
And you need.
I need to become a better me.
You do. You're a
Yes.
work in progress.
It's a lot of work, hard work.
Yeah, we are.
So, where are we talking to you? We're from Kansas City. Where are you?
I'm in Mobile, Alabama, on the Gulf Coast.
Oh, I've always wanted to go there.
You know, about 20 years ago, Big Bob's had a store in Mobile.
You told us about that.
Yeah, it didn't last very long. Anyways, what can I tell you? We're still here. We just celebrated our 40th year in business. So it's more about the proprietorship than it is the concept.
Right.
Tony,
Yes, sir.
who are you
And what do you do?
and why are you so important?
Well, my name is Cicone Prince of CiconePrince.com, where we make motivation personal by introducing you to yourself. I focus on personal development and leadership development. I'm a motivational speaker, author, and a coach. I've actually held several events. I've traveled the world sharing inspirational and informational messages about why it's so important for you to be the best version of yourself. And so that's why, of course, we talked a little earlier about Brenda Ringwood. I could not help but be a part of her organization because I believe that we all have an opportunity to grow. The question is, are we taking advantage of that opportunity? The only thing that's standing between you and a better version of yourself is the mindset needed to start the journey. So that's one of the things I really do. I help people to take an objective look at themselves because I tell people no matter where you go, you're there. And if you never develop as a person, you take that same thinking from one relationship to the next, from one job to the next, from one business to the next, from one diet to the next. But if your mindset changes, if you start looking at yourself differently, if you understand your own value and your worth, then you will put in the work to get to that better state. But until you do that, and I say this all the time, once you know who you are, nothing can stop you. But
Do you
until
think-
you know who you are, anything can.
Do
You know,
And so my thing is to help people to understand who they are so that they can actually get to a better place in their life.
now sometimes the better you get to know somebody else, the less you might really like them.
but you still
How
love
about how about the better you get to know yourself, you don't like yourself so much.
Well, even in respect to that, again, I said an objective look at ourselves because it's that objective look that allows us to be honest with ourselves and see where our strength and our weaknesses are, to understand those areas that need to be worked on and really put that work in because it's doing that level of work which is really going to give us a more fulfilled and more enriched life. We then become an example to someone else. But if we are settling in ourselves as to who we are and how we do what we do, then we are letting other people do the same. But if we never stop growing, never stop working on ourselves, we are encouraging other people to start their journey as well.
I love the message. What do you do to make yourself a better person? Is there a daily routine? Is there meditation? Is it prayer? What do you do to make yourself a better person every day?
Well, definitely prayer and meditation. But I also believe that one of the things that I am heavy on is affirmations. And
Oh,
Well,
not necessarily.
I think you're a wonderful guy. You're good looking. You have a wonderful facial hair thing going for you. What kind of affirmation do you need?
Well, it's not really affirmations about me per se, but about my mission.
Ah, okay. You're very
Because
articulate. I find you
if
to
you
be charismatic.
if you don't understand why you do what you do, if you don't understand the end goal, you'll give up, you'll quit. Why am I doing this? But if you know somebody is waiting on you, if you understand that you're the aspirin to somebody's headache, you'll push yourself a little further. You'll get up a little earlier. You'll study a little longer. You will put in the work because you really want to meet their needs. You know you've been called to serve. And Dr. Miles Monroe said the fruit isn't for the tree.
huh.
The
So
fruit isn't for the tree. And our gifting is not for us, but for the world. But if we don't understand that, we will discount it. We will put it to the side. And I tell people all the time, you need to value your value and see what value your value brings. I'm going to say that again for those who are taking notes. You need to value your value and see what value your value brings. Somebody needs what you have. Somebody needs your insights, your intellect. Somebody needs your background, your history. Somebody needs your inspiration, your story. Somebody needs you to be the example that they didn't have.
There's
So
hope.
if you understand that somebody's looking for you and looking to you, then you'll show up. If not for yourself, you'll do it for them.
how
And
many
for
books?
me, that's
How
one
many,
of the reasons why I keep going. Yes.
how many books have you written?
I am finishing up my sixth book. And can you see it? It's right there. It's called Heal. Heal is an acronym for Help Elevate and Learn. It's a guide for healing your inner child. But like I said before, I started on personal development and leadership development. But I realized quickly that because my slogan is Cicone, I'm Cicone Prince of CiconePrince.com. We make motivation personal. We're introducing you to yourself. And I was introducing people to the adult version of themselves. But I was leaving out one aspect of our personality, and that's our inner child. Because a lot of things happen to us in our childhood that carries on into our adulthood. But we don't really recognize and understand them as that. And we just say, well, that's just where I am. And I tell people all the time, it's not what you do, but why you do it. So why do you act and why do you respond the way that you do in certain situations? And a lot of the times it comes back to something that was embedded to us in our inner child. So to answer your question, I'm on my sixth book.
That's amazing.
Are they all the same themes?
No, they're not. The first book that I actually had published was entitled, Are You Climbing the Wrong Mountain? About finding your true purpose. That's the personal development book that I wrote. Then I wrote Knowing When to Jump, determining the best time to take your leap of faith. Then I wrote Shooting from the Hip, 7 life lessons I learned from my total hip replacement.
Oh.
Then I went back because I actually had a book or a document that I turned into a book, and it was entitled, Are You Smart Enough to Play Dumb? A Guide for Starting and Running a Small Business.
What does that mean?
That is it.
Wait a second. That was supposed to be the softball. Am I smart enough to play dumb? What does that mean? Right. Come on. Keep up.
Well, that means that you realize that you don't know everything, and you get around somebody like yourself who knows more than I do and be quiet long enough to learn something. I just say be dumb. I say, are you smart enough to play dumb? So, to act like you don't know everything so you can learn something.
That's impossible for him.
No, that's not true. Sure. Well, I've written a lot of witty ditties, and one of them is, when you raise a hair, dress like a turtle.
Okay.
Which is basically what you're saying is you want people to underestimate you. You don't want people to think you're a threat to them. And the best way to not be a threat to them is to have them underestimate you.
Okay.
You don't have to be smart. You just have to act dumb.
That's that same thing. See, we're right there. We're right there.
That's why I reiterated one of my old sayings was, you don't always have to be the smartest guy in the room.
Right.
Have you ever been?
Most of the time I am, but I don't let everybody know it. What are you laughing at?
'Cause, you know,
I'm laughing at her. She's the one with the eye roll. Never mind. Continue.
Yeah, she has a problem with that.
it's a twitch.
Yeah, she has a twitch. She does these eye rolls every time I talk. How did you become so confident that your message became important for you to share?
The better question is,
Okay, ask it a better way
well,
then.
no, I'm just curious because here you are doing all this. What led you to this point? What's your story?
Geez, that's what I just asked.
I was going to ask it anyway, so I just had to rephrase it.
You
Okay.
just love the sound of your own
I
voice.
do. It's better than yours. So I want to know your story and how you got to where you are.
Well, honestly, my journey to personal development started in college. And it was as a result of a failed relationship. And I noticed that in 80% of the relationships I was in, it was the woman that ended it. So I started asking myself, Cicone, why is that? Why do you hold on for dear life? What is it about you that has you so attached to relationships? And I started my own journey of learning about me. You know, we'll ask questions of everybody else, but rarely do we ask questions of ourselves. And so that's why, again, going back to my slogan, make motivation personal by introducing you to yourself. And most of you say, well, hey, I know who I am. Well, do you really? Have you questioned why you do what you do? Because that's where I started. I started asking myself, why is it that this is a reoccurring theme in my life? So I needed to find the root, and I started the process of looking. So that's what started me on my personal development journey.
Let's pull back the curtain.
Okay.
What did you find when you
What did I
started?
find?
When you looked at yourself, and you're only 20 years old, you loved yourself a lot. You had a lot of self-confidence. Something wasn't working, and so you did a deep soul search on yourself. What did you find?
Well, I do want to pull back a little bit, even more so, because my self-confidence then isn't the same as it is now. And it was that journey of self-discovery and personal development that has helped me to, going back to what I said earlier, once you know who you are, nothing can stop you. I had to know who I was. When I started, I didn't know who I was. So I started to learn me. I knew what type of person I was. I knew what my core values were, but I wanted to understand my tendencies. I wanted to understand my behavior, and I really wanted to understand where they came from. So I started looking at some of the relationships in my life and how they impacted me, and how what I got or didn't get was still affecting me even today.
There's a separation between who I was, who I am, and who I want to be. And I think what you're saying is before you figure out who you are and who you want to be, you have to figure out who you were so you can connect the dots or change the path based on your self-discovery. So
Right.
you go back to your childhood, how the village raised you, your nature nurture, and make intellectual decisions without the emotion of this is where I was, this is where I am, but I don't like where I am because this is where I want to go. And this is the man I want to become. Or in your case, a woman.
Thank you.
You are a woman, right?
Yes.
We're not sure anymore of who's the man, who's the woman, but anyways, that we'll say that one for next conversation.
Well, and you know, as you mentioned that it reminds me of a GPS, because if you do not have locations turned on, I don't care what destination you put in, the GPS are going to ask you, where are you? Like, where are you right now? Because you could be right next to where you're trying to get to, or you could be 3,000 miles away, but it has to have a starting point. And that's why looking at ourselves and understanding who we are now will actually be the starting point to where we want to get and to who we want to be.
Who do you want to be?
Me,
Yeah.
in the words of a good friend of mine, Dr. George Frazier, I want to be someone who matters. I want to be someone who makes a difference in the lives of the people I've been called to serve. And since I don't know who they are, since I don't have a list of everybody I'm supposed to impact, my goal is to keep talking and keep sharing until I reach everybody who, and I'm a person of faith, who God intended for me to reach. And so with that being said, I just want to be the best version of myself. And I want to champion a cause of personal development, of growing, of not staying the same. One thing I hated that I did, because my coach actually had us start doing videos. Even before I started doing videos with him, I started them on my own. I deleted them because they were so bad. I hated that. I hated the fact that I deleted my starting point because I really want to be able to compare. This is how I started. This is how jacked up I was when I started, but this is where I am now. Because I wanted to show the growth, because I want to encourage somebody else. And it's not about me positioning myself to be somebody that I'm not, but it's about me being an example to other people. Look, this is where I started. This is how bad I was starting off, but this is where I am right now. And so I want to help people find their passion and do it, in fact, what it is they love to do.
Johnny Appleseed.
Okay.
That's who you are. You're crossing as far as you can go, dropping the seeds everywhere you pass. You don't know which ones take off, which ones bear fruit, but you just keep the journey going, dropping the seeds every step of the way.
Right.
Are you auditioning to be another coach of his?
No, he doesn't need a coach.
I was just curious.
He doesn't.
I know.
He doesn't even need a mentor, right?
Well,
he might need another friend, but he's a total package. Well, I love what you're saying, and you say it like a professional. You're a professional speaker. He says it like a professional speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Very polished. I'm impressed.
Well, you indicated this journey of self-discovery started when you were younger and in college as a result of failed relationships. When you were in college, A, what were you studying at that time? And B, did this pivotal point at that time change the trajectory significantly at that time to the path you eventually took, aside from the one you went into college thinking you were going to take?
So you're not minding your own ABCs.
Well,
Nothing good. Yeah, go ahead.
I was asking a serious question.
Right.
Well, to answer your question, I was studying electronic engineering at the time. I have a bachelor's degree in electronic engineering. I have an associate's degree in electronic technology. But neither one of those were the catalyst for what I'm doing now. So I wasn't going to school for psychology or psychiatry or, anything along those lines. But again, I knew that I had to live with myself. And I knew that I had more to offer. I believed I had more to offer. A lot of people would have a hard time believing I had a stuttering problem as a child growing up. I had a stuttering problem.
Huh.
But you will know that today because I continued to press forward because there was so much in me that I wanted to get out, that I needed to get out, that I had to get out. And so overcoming those obstacles and actually, again, realizing how valuable what I had, and this is not saying anything about me, but again, about the people I've been called to serve. I had to put myself in a position where I could impact as many people as possible because I live by scripture, to whom much is given, much is required. See, I think a lot of people haven't taken the time to understand what they've been given, so they don't see the requirement of it. So they don't see the value in it. And they treat it as such. This is not valuable. It is to somebody. So with that being said, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Help himself.
One of my other isms
Isms.
is one of the challenges in life is identifying your natural gift and then developing the skills that support your natural gift. That is what you have done. We all don't have gifts for everything. We just have, some of us don't have many gifts at all. But once you discover your gift, you have to develop the skills that support the gift. So you developed your gift, you discovered your gift, and you've spent your life developing the skills that support your gift and your mission.
Exactly. Exactly. Mark Twain said,
Very few people ever have enough self-awareness to
right.
take the journey that you've taken.
Well, that reminds me of a quote by Mark Twain where he said, the two most important days in your life is the day you were born and the day you found out why.
Huh.
And that's
Have you
it.
ever heard that?
No. Have you ever figured out why yet?
No, I have not.
See,
That's the thing.
That's the thing. She hasn't figured out why
I
yet.
seriously haven't. I struggle with this every day. In fact, I talked with that over the weekend. I have no clue what I'm supposed to be doing on God's green earth.
And your time's almost done.
I'm in the afternoon of life, but I'm not in the evening.
My book, Are You Climbing the Wrong Mountain, can help you do
What?
that.
Huh?
My book, Are You Climbing the Wrong Mountain? It can help you do that.
You know, why don't you, is it in the library?
It's on Amazon, for sure.
Hold on. Let's call out that book name again. Ann's going to buy a book. And
Okay.
what is the name of that book?
Heal.
Are you climbing the wrong
Oh, you
mountain?
said the wrong mountain.
That's
Heal.
the one.
Yeah.
that you
Right.
need. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we'll double your sales overnight.
Okay. Hey, there you go. I need it. I need it.
Let's see. Married?
Married with 5 kids.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, I know, right?
Congratulations.
But thank you.
Do all of them put you up on a pedestal?
No. You know, I tell people all the time, one of the reasons why I talk as much as I do is because I have 5 kids. Because if I had to discipline them or spank them every time they did something wrong, I would have to contract it out.
There you
So
go.
I had to learn how to not just talk to them, but talk to them in such a way to where they could get it and retain it and hold on to it. For instance, you know, I told them one time, I said, listen, I'm not raising children, I'm raising adults. They looked at me like, but we're not adults. I said, okay. I said, do you wait till you get to school to put your school clothes on? They said, no. I said, you wait till you get to church to put your church clothes on? I said, no. I said, do you wait till you get in the swimming pool to put your swimsuit on? They said, no. I said, that's right. You always get ready somewhere else. You always get dressed somewhere else. I said, well, you don't wait till you become an adult to learn how to be one. I said, now is the time, and this is the space you learn the skills you need to become an adult. We're going somewhere. I'm not just being a mean ogre. I'm trying to make sure that you can take care of yourself after you leave my house. I'm not still staying with my parents. You're not going to still be staying with me. I want to make sure that I'm raising responsible adults. And once I told them that, they were like, okay, I get it.
How old are your kids?
Oldest one is 35. Oldest one is 36. Youngest one is 16. And those are the boys. Those are the bookends. There's a 20-year difference between them. And then I have 3 daughters, 28, 24, and 22. And this year, everybody bumps up in age. So
Happens
2 boys, 3 girls.
Happens every year. Imagine that. So one of the things I told my kids growing up is adulthood starts at age 21. At 25, you're a 4-year-old adult.
I love it.
I'm a 50-year-old adult.
Okay.
Think of how much more I've learned in 50 years than you've learned in 4.
Experience.
It's not IQ that is the path to success. It's experiences, good and bad.
Right.
I've had much more life experiences than you possibly could have had. And I'm willing to share them with you so you don't make the same mistakes I've made.
Right.
I'm willing to share the successful decisions I've made and the bad ones to accelerate your learning curve so that you don't have to wait until you're 45 years old to have the wisdom of being 45.
That part. Yeah.
Right? And the light bulb goes on and they go, okay, that makes sense. He just said he's not so smart. He just has a lot of experiences.
Right.
And that's what, you don't have to always put your hand on the stove to figure out it's hot if somebody else has told you it's hot.
Exactly.
Right? So parenting, and by the way, I believe parenting is the single most important responsibility any adult has in this whole world.
True.
teaching our children to carry their own water, to be a important part of our community that doesn't drain the resources, but adds to the culture and the well-being of the community. That's our job. And if every one of us did our job better, the next generation would be a whole lot better than our generation.
That's
Did you do
true.
your job well?
Yeah, I did my job well.
Did I?
Well, I think your husband did a spectacular job. I don't know if you helped at all.
I
but
did it
Your
all.
your kids turn out to be superstars. In spite of your anyways, how many failed relationships have you had?
Are you competing?
Are we gonna make the kindergarten, the middle school? I mean, where are we talking?
Well, you said you had a
Okay.
life-altering event because of a failed relationship. Does it take failure to learn and move forward?
Oh, you definitely learn more from failure than you do from success. But to answer your original question, I would say in a neighborhood of about 5 serious ones that really, again, had me looking at myself. And, I really start in almost any situation. I do a bit of self-reflection. If you and I have an issue, in fact, one of the first things I do is, okay, so what did I do to cause this? And if I can't determine it, if I can't logically, in fact, determine anything, okay, so what do you think I did? But I would start with myself first, to see, is there anything I did that led to this? And then if I can't come to a conclusion on my own, okay, can you tell me something I didn't see? And if I care enough about the relationship, and if there's any truth to it, I'm going to own up to it. I'm going to apologize, so we can move forward. So
that works with guys. I don't think that works with women.
Well, okay, I'm not a woman.
I know.
So,
but that works with men.
I think we were talking about failed relationships.
Right. I don't know if I've had any failed relationships with guys.
No.
It's because transparency, honesty, sincere apology, that's all it takes. Let's move on. Women, it's a whole different type of communication skills.
Yes.
It starts with I'm sorry. I don't know what I did wrong, but I'm sure I did something wrong.
You read the script.
And I want to apologize right now because it was unintentional. It was without malice. I wasn't trying to hurt your feelings. I was trying to communicate with the limited skill set I have, but I must have said something wrong, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Please forgive me.
Yeah. And
can I buy you flowers or a dinner or a piece of jewelry? What do I have to do to make this right? I mean, women are a totally different level of communication. I'm sorry,
true.
Brenda. Not you. You're not like that at all.
I think
she cut your mic off. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, wait. I think she turned off the podcast. Are we still on?
Yeah, but I'm holding my tongue, but you're not wrong. I'm not saying you're absolutely right, but you're not wrong.
Well, thank you. You say you travel the world. Where have you been?
I've been to Guyana, South America. Had an opportunity to go back there in 2018. And last year, for the first time, I had a chance to go to Nairobi, Kenya in Africa. And both of them were an eye-opening experience, especially going to another continent, to another culture, and seeing how different, but also how alike people are in general. So yeah, it was amazing.
I gotta ask, when you travel outside of the United States, are you more or less grateful for what we have here?
More grateful. Definitely more grateful.
I mean, just having Charmin's at the grocery store makes life a whole lot better.
Yeah, well, and you know, where I stayed in both of those countries, you know, they had all of the modern day amenities, but a couple of blocks away or down the street, a couple of alleys over, you know, it was just, I mean,
Different world.
poverty. Yeah, definitely, you know. And
No, that's the whole thing. It's not a different world. It's the same world. It's the same world with different standards, with different qualities, with different amenities. It is the same world, and that's one of the things that's not fair. It is the same world. And why there is a disparity between the haves and the have-nots, that is a great question, because it is
yeah,
the same world.
yeah, yeah. There were a lot of challenges, you know, when it comes to the have and have nots. And but again, it was an eye-opening experience, and I'm grateful that I had them.
Wait. Oh, Brenda just flashed me a sign. You won a very prestigious award. Can we talk about that?
Yes, I think she's making reference to the Lifetime Achievement Award, the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. I received that back in 2018. I was recognized for my service. And see, the thing about it is this: you never really do what you do for those recognitions. In fact, you do it because it's a part of who you are. It's a part of your calling, your mission. And I mean, but to be recognized for your service and your heart towards humanity is is inspiring, it's reassuring, but it's not the reason why it was done. You know,
You didn't set out to win the award.
exactly.
The award was an acknowledgement of your commitment,
Correct,
an
exactly.
affirmation that you were on the right path,
That's it.
right? And a pat on the back of encouragement to keep doing it the same way.
Yes.
Well, it kind of
You're
reminds
trying
me.
to make me burp?
No, kind of reminds me of that quote you coined recently.
Yeah. Service is the gift you give yourself to honor your blessings.
Mm, okay. I
Now, I
like that.
wrote it two ways. I wrote it: service is the gift I give myself to honor my blessings, or service is the gift you give yourself to honor your giving, your blessings.
Right,
Uh,
right.
it depends on the audience, but we give to honor the blessings that we've had, not to give, but to honor that we have the opportunity to give.
Right,
Does
exactly.
that make any sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Whoa,
Truly
so
does.
you make sense.
I make a lot of dollars too. Um, what's next for you?
Well, this podcast that I'm doing has it's been so phenomenal. And I've only had 3 episodes. I'm working on my fourth one for this coming week, but it has been truly eye-opening. The guest I had this past Friday, she is a therapist out of Dallas, Texas, and she did a tremendous job helping us to unpack how childhood trauma continues to impact us even today. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm seeking to have people, psychologists, and therapists on the show to help, because I'm going to bring the layman's term aspect to what I'm talking about, but I want them to be able to give us some clinical insight. And I'm not, you know, this is not any replacement for any kind of therapy, but my podcast is to start the conversation. And that's really what I want to do. I want to make it normal for us to talk about things that we have shunned and buried and pushed to the side and pacified and pushed in a corner for so long. The only problem is they keep showing up in our life. They keep showing up on our jobs and our business and our relationships. And if they keep showing up, we need to address them and we need to be willing to talk about them. And that's what the podcast is for. And the book, oh man, I can't wait for it. It should be out by the end of this month. It's at the editors now. I'm getting some last minute edits done, but it's going to be a game changer because it allows you again to take an objective look at yourself and understand that part of yourself that you may not be acquainted with or connected with, or you suppress or again push to the side. Sometimes people pacify the inner child instead of making peace with it, making sure that the inner child grows up. The cover of my book, and I don't know if you can see it, but it literally has a picture of a man holding a young boy's hand. And that is to represent
Holding
you.
his own hand from the past. I take small exception with the premise.
Okay.
I want to throw away the crutches of my youth. I want to throw away the excuses of why I can't become a better me based on my childhood. I want to totally take out of my knapsack of pain and anguish all the rocks and boulders I've been carrying around since I was a child and stop carrying them forward. I want to discount down to practically nothing all the negatives of my past that will allow me to have a positive future. Now, I might have to come to grips with it, but I don't want to use it as an excuse or a crutch for holding me back.
And that's really not the premise of my book. It's actually about, again, coming to grips with it. It's about making peace with it and then being able to move forward. So it's not using it as an excuse of, well, this is just the way I am and this is how I'm always going to be. No, let's heal from that hurt so we can then enjoy life. When was the last time you did something that was just like that gave you a certain level of fun and enthusiasm, a childlike exuberance? I know for me, it was when I was being creative, when I created my online magazine, because I was making something that didn't exist before. It was mine, and I had total autonomy, total control over it. I never felt more like a child as of yet than I did when I was doing that.
That happens to me every Saturday night.
What happens on Saturday night?
You get too old. But that happens to me every Saturday night. I feel that jubilance, that whoopee, yeah, every Saturday night.
Was that when the Grater's ice cream gets open?
No. Well, that's after Saturday night. But all I'm saying to you is,
I apologize.
too many people use their past as an excuse to limit the future.
I know. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book, because it's not about giving them a pass as to an excuse. This is about, let's heal from this so we can move forward. A lot of people try to ignore. I remember talking to this one young lady one time, and I mean, she was like, I don't want to deal with my past. I don't want to forgive me. I don't want to think about it. I just want to forget it and put it out of my mind. She was pounding and beating on the table with tears in her eyes. Like Tom Cruise said, you may be done with your past, but your past isn't done with you. You have to make peace with it, because if you don't, it's going to keep showing up. And that is the premise of this book. And I even encourage you, as even with the book and the podcast, if anything in it triggers you, put it down, turn the podcast off, and get professional help.
Every single one of us can look into our past and say, I'm slightly broken, or I was broken. I had an abusive moment, abusive relationship, an abusive time. Something in our past was not idyllic.
Exactly.
I get it. Too many people use that as an excuse.
They do. And I agree with you 100%.
Right. So do I have to acknowledge the speed bumps I have? Okay. Yes, that happened. Yeah, I'm over it. No, I'm not carrying that forward. That's not who I want to be. And I think the great message you have that I agree with, and I'm paraphrasing it, is decide who you want to be and take the path that gets you to who you want to be, instead of taking the path of where you are and where that might lead to. Decide to be, who do you want to be when you grow up?
Right.
Who do you want to become? And learn learn the attributes, the habits, the intellect, the emotion balance that it takes to become the person you want to become.
And that is true.
And
That
not
is true.
rely and freaking forget about your past. Deal with it, move on, because the past is in the past. Nothing can be done to change the past.
And
It's
that is
history.
so true.
The
That is
future
so
has
true.
not yet been written. The future has not yet been written.
That is
And
true.
it doesn't have to be predicated on your past. You get to be the author of your future. And I think that is the message that resounds with me.
Right.
Thank you very much. Is you get to be the author of your future.
You definitely do. And, you know,
You may use any of these phrases in your next book if you want to.
okay, I'll be sure to add a couple of them.
Yeah,
You know,
no footnotes necessary.
okay, all right. You know, when you pull the leaves off of a tree, even if you pull the branches and limbs off of it, and you come back a year later, if you haven't dealt with the roots, and so that's really what, you know, that's my focus, especially when it comes to, like I said, childhood trauma. It's not a past. It's not, if it's still showing up in your life, if it's affecting your relationships, that's what needs to be
then
dealt.
you got to
That's
deal
what needs
with
to be
it.
dealt with.
Yeah,
That's what needs to be dealt with.
if it's affecting who you are,
Exactly, and where you want to go. That part.
right?
Part. That's
Yeah.
the part.
That's
And
when
so
you
that's
have
one of the
to,
reasons.
that's when you have to go back and rip the
And
Band-Aid off
heal.
and heal. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So we're on the same page.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Sign me up. I want to join. So if my next book, I wrote a book. It's called, excuse me, Ann wrote my book, but the book.
Did you roll her eyes while she was doing it?
I what?
Did you roll your eyes while you were doing it?
No, but I was like, Jesus, take the wheel. And it felt like we were off-roading the whole time.
Yeah, I talk, she wrote. Anyways, my next book, it was called Wartime Retail. It was about how the business world changed in 7 and 8. And if you weren't pivoting and making a change, you'd probably end up going out of business.
Your next book,
my next book is going to be called Politics, Sex, and Religion.
Nice. Nothing controversial there.
No, not at all.
No, but the title's going to sell a lot. It could be blank pages, 200 pages of blank. But that title will sell 1 million books.
Yeah.
We should copyright that right away.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
You should put it out to the world.
All 17 people know about it now.
You never know.
How many people watching your podcast?
Well, like I said, I had my 3rd episode this past Friday. I'm working on my 4th. I'm up to 26. 26
Brenda,
live viewers.
Yes, 26 at the 3 episodes. We're only up at 17.
He had followers before he started.
Oh, she says because you're a very important person.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you, Brenda. I appreciate it.
And good looking.
Thank you.
And smart and articulate. What else? Yes, she's a big fan.
Oh, well, yay. I appreciate it.
What does BTBY mean to you?
BTBY is a family of individuals who just want to be better. And in that family, there's a level of support like I've rarely seen in most organizations. Having people who get the struggle of being around other folks that have yet to pick up the mantle of personal development, of self-development, having people that understand that you may be the only person in your family or in your organization, in your community, that's really trying to better yourself, trying to pull yourself up, trying to go to another level. Being around other folks like that, I mean, it's literally like being among family. Those people that, and I tell people this all the time, surround yourself with like-minded people who think differently.
Ann's got to leave.
Okay. And, all right. Well,
Yeah, it was like-minded people. She's got to leave. So one of the things that I find mind-boggling,
This one.
who would not want to become a better version of themselves? Who would not want to improve upon the things that they think are important to them? Who would not want to become a better friend, a better father, a better coworker, a better community neighbor? Who would not want to be better? I don't want to know those people. I don't want to know the people who really don't want to become better because they think they're the total package right now.
Well, if I can share something with you, and this is my own personal,
Rather not. Go ahead.
This is my own personal belief that insecurities show up in one of two ways: either arrogance or low self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, if I'm insecure about myself, well, I have to outdo somebody. I have to show somebody up. I have to be the best because I'm dealing with my own insecurities. Or if I'm insecure about myself, well, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be heard. I want to hide. And those are two extremes. But when you understand that your own security about who you are, it helps other people to understand that they can be themselves. It's when you are afraid to be who you are that causes other people to think, okay, well, I can't be who I am, so I have to play this role. I have to pretend that everything is okay and perfect and right when I know it's not. Or I have to beat myself up. I have to put myself down because I don't think that I'm as good as so and so. And it's not about being better than the person next to you. It's about being better than who you were yesterday. But if you don't understand that, you will stay stuck in that particular mindset.
And what he's saying is you don't have to put yourself down anymore.
I appreciate that because I actually do that quite frequently.
Right. You're a good person. You have potential.
I have potential.
I think you can make a wonderful something out of your life someday.
I hope so. Whether
Are you climbing the wrong mountain? I'm serious. It will make a difference.
You know what I say? Very, very similar. Have you put your ladder up against the right wall?
Right.
Which is exactly the same thing,
Yeah.
right? Because if you put your ladder up against the wrong wall, even if you get to the top, you know where you want to go. You're not close to where you're supposed to be.
Right.
The challenge is making sure you put your ladder up against the right wall.
And I'm assuming
Exact same thing you say.
I'm assuming it's never too late to do this.
It is never too late to do it.
She's 60. Is it too
I
late?
Thanks a lot. A little younger than you
Well,
by a long
by a
shot.
lot.
It is never too late to become who you were meant to be. I'm gonna say that again for those that are taking notes. It is never too late to become who you were meant to be, but you have to settle who you are. Okay? And then work on who you want to be. A lot of people haven't even said the reason, again, going back to the GPS, I can't help you if you don't tell me where you are. A lot of people haven't settled with who they are now versus who they want to be. Oh, I want to be someone. Okay, who are you now? Well, I don't. Okay, figure out who you are now. And then, okay, this is who I am. This is who I want to be. So now I just have to make a path, chart a path, a course to get there. But so many people don't want to do the work. They want to look at the end product, but they don't want to look at the starting point. They don't want to admit where they are.
Cicone,
and that's one of the biggest problems.
You and I are preaching off the exact same prayer sheet, except you just do it so much better.
Mm-hmm.
You're more articulate. Your analogies are better. It's more thought out, more polished. But I'm a pupil of everything you've just said, and a disciple of, maybe not a pupil, a disciple of everything you've just said, because I 100% agree so far which is unusual for me to agree with anybody,
Yeah.
but I agree with basically everything you've said.
Mark your calendars. Today's today.
Yeah, write that down.
We are, believe it or not, kindred spirits when it comes to this,
Yeah.
100% aligned.
Well, I'm so grateful and glad that and we share that, because again, there are more people need to preach this message. More people need to hear it, because there are a ton of people that are living with excuses.
You have climbed the mountain, and you are showing people the easy shortcut path to climb up the mountain.
Yeah.
You are lowering the rope ladder to help people climb the mountain themselves. You are not selfishly standing at the top of the mountain and say, look at me and what I've accomplished. You're saying, come up and join me. The view up here is spectacular.
Exactly.
I applaud you from internal. What you're doing is special. Thank you very much for sharing it with us.
It's a good thing this was recorded, because now we've documented that his confession, his admittance that you're right, you're correct, you're this, you're that, you're more important than him. I like to hear that.
It could be your ringtone.
Did you see my eyes rolling behind the glasses?
Yes, I do. I do, Bob. I do.
All right. Brother, I get to see you in September.
Yes, sir.
We are both going to be attending the BTBY annual convention.
Yes.
I am sure you will be partaking of the stage and sharing your message with the hundreds and thousands of people in attendance, motivating them and signing your books afterwards,
Yes.
and being available for counseling. Do you do one-on-one counseling?
Yes, I do. I do personal coaching. Actually, I have a coaching client that I'll be going to as soon as we finish here. And then I also do group coaching as well.
What's the biggest crowd you've spoken in front of?
300 people.
Do you find yourself?
Actually, it was more than that, because the graduating class was 300, so the family was there. So probably about 900 people.
Do you find yourself more effective in a bigger crowd or one-on-one?
I'm not trying to say anything boastful, but my goal is to have a one-on-one conversation with 10,000 people. I find myself more effective no matter where I go, because what I share from a personal standpoint, to where I don't care how big the room is, somebody in there is going to gravitate to what I'm saying, because like my coach, Dr. Ruben West, tells us, words from the heart go to the heart. So I'm speaking from my heart. And for the ones whose heart are open to receive, I don't care how many people in the room, there could be 2, there could be 2,000. It's going to hit where it's supposed to hit, because it's coming from a place of passion, it's coming from a place of concern, and it's coming from my heart. So, I mean, honestly, I can't even really answer that question, because if I'm talking one-on-one with somebody, or if I'm talking to a group, my thing is to deliver the fruit that was not for the tree, but for the person that needed it. So,
yeah, you have been blessed. You have been touched. Your light, your message is a light towards the path of truth, and magnificent, absolutely magnificent.
thank you.
Are you a Pat Mahomes fan?
Yes.
So you're not rooting for Tampa Bay anymore?
I never rooted for Tampa Bay. What do you know? What did you get? What do you? Somebody check his cue cards. Somebody check your cue.
I mean, what was it, Saints?
Well, Saints, Steelers. But bottom line is this: my checking account doesn't change no matter who wins or loses. So, I mean, I'll watch it if it's on, but I'm not going to break my neck just to get home to watch a game. And I'm not a rat. One thing I really have an issue with is radical, fanatical people. It's a sporting event. It's not life and death.
It's recreation. It's like watching a movie. It's like going to the movie theater Sunday afternoon, watching a movie. It's over. You go home. You might have a conversation about how wonderful it was, but it doesn't affect Monday.
Exactly.
Right.
But some people they just they would slash your tires, put sugar in your tank. Oh, it's like it's a game. It's a game. But anyway,
It's recreation
yes.
for people who don't have to participate. It's just recreation.
Right.
Okay. You want to say anything, Tim, before we leave?
I just want to thank you for joining us and secondarily for putting up with him. I mean,
Hey,
it
next
says a
time.
lot about you.
Next time we do it, we'll do it without her.
That's okay.
All right.
Okay. The He-Man Woman Haters Club.
No. Wait. All right. Oh, Brenda wanted to say goodnight and thank you very much.
Good night, Brenda.
Take care, bro. Thank you
All right.
again.
All right. Thank you.